In the heart of Ohio, a struggling single mother pushes her little girl in a broken, rusted wheelchair. Life has given them countless challenges, until one ordinary mechanic stops his truck and makes a promise. What happens next will restore your faith in kindness. Like, share, and subscribe, and tell us where you're watching from. Now let's get started. Linda pushed her daughter Emily's old wheelchair along the cracked sidewalks of a quiet Ohio neighborhood. The afternoon sun was warm, but every squeak of the wheels reminded her of the struggle they lived with daily. The metal frame of the chair had patches of rust, the cushion had flattened years ago, and sometimes one wheel would jam mid-turn. At just 10 years old, Emily had already learned how to smile through the inconvenience. She kept her head high, even when children at the park whispered about her broken ride. For Linda, each outing was both a blessing and a burden. Life had not been kind to Linda since her husband passed away 3 years earlier. Juggling 2 jobs, one at a diner and another at a local grocery store, barely covered the rent and bills. Medical expenses drained whatever was left. A new wheelchair was always on her mind, but every time she looked at the price tags, reality crushed the hope. It wasn't just a chair. It was Emily's legs, her independence. Without it, her daughter felt trapped. Linda often prayed at night, asking for just one break, just one chance to make things easier for Emily. Despite the hardship, Emily carried a spirit that surprised everyone around her. She never complained when her chair locked up in the middle of the street or when her friends ran past her at recess. Instead, she clapped for them, cheering louder than anyone else. But Linda could see the longing in her daughter's eyes. She noticed how Emily would stare at the other kids with bikes and scooters, wishing she could feel that same freedom of speed and motion. The rusted wheelchair wasn't just uncomfortable, it was a reminder of what she couldn't have, no matter how much she wished for it. On one chilly evening, as autumn leaves scattered across the pavement, Linda and Emily walked home from the grocery store. The bag of groceries balanced on Linda's arm while she pushed the chair with her other hand. Suddenly, one of the wheels jammed again, and this time the chair wouldn't budge. Linda sighed in frustration, setting the groceries down and kneeling on the sidewalk to tug at the wheel. Emily leaned forward, trying to help by adjusting the footrest. The wheel groaned, but it wouldn't move. For a moment, Linda's eyes filled with helpless tears. She hated this feeling, fighting against something as simple as mobility. Emily, noticing her mother's struggle, reached out and placed her small hand on Linda's shoulder. "It's okay, Mom," she said softly. "We'll get it moving." "We always do." Her words, though kind, stung Linda's heart. Children should dream about play, school, and adventures, not worry about broken equipment. She wished Emily could live without these limitations. She thought about how much her daughter deserved to glide across the park, join in games, and chase after friends without being left behind. Yet here they were, stuck again, waiting for the wheel to cooperate with their patience. Cars passed slowly on the quiet street, their headlights starting to glow as evening approached. A couple walking their dog gave Linda a sympathetic smile, but didn't stop. She didn't blame them. Most people avoided getting too involved in strangers' troubles. Linda tried again, pressing down hard on the wheel, and finally, with a loud creak, it moved an inch. But the victory was short-lived. The chair wobbled dangerously to the side. Emily giggled at the wobble, trying to make light of the situation, but Linda's chest tightened with worry. What if the chair completely broke one day, while Emily was in school or on the street? The thought terrified her. As Linda knelt there, sweat mixing with the chill of the air, she heard the sound of a truck slowing down. She looked up to see an old pickup pulling over to the curb. A man stepped out, his work boots crunching on the leaves. He wore a faded flannel shirt, his hands smudged with grease as if he had just left a repair shop. His face showed both curiosity and concern as he approached them. Linda stiffened. She wasn't used to strangers offering help. But when the man's eyes shifted to Emily, they softened instantly. Something about the little girl's smile seemed to draw him closer. "Everything all right here?" he asked gently, crouching down to look at the wheel. Linda explained quickly, embarrassed, about the chair's condition. The man ran his hand along the rusted frame, shaking his head. "This isn't safe," he muttered, almost to himself. Then, turning back to Emily, he smiled. "You've been a real champ riding in this thing, huh?" Emily grinned shyly and nodded. Linda felt a wave of relief at his kindness. It was rare to meet someone who didn't just stare, but actually cared enough to stop. She had no idea that this moment was about to change everything. The man introduced himself as Jack, a local mechanic who lived just a few streets away. He explained that he often tinkered with old cars and broken machines, and seeing Emily's wheelchair reminded him of the way he loved fixing things people had given up on. Linda listened politely, unsure where the conversation was going. But then Jack made an offer that left her speechless. "If you don't mind," he said, "I'd like to take a look at this chair properly. I think I can make it better for her. Maybe even like new." Linda hesitated, torn between trust and caution. Emily, however, lit up with excitement. "Mom, please. He can fix it," she exclaimed, her voice filled with hope. Linda looked at her daughter's face, glowing with rare anticipation, and then back at Jack. His sincerity was written all over his expression. He wasn't looking for money, recognition, or anything in return. He simply wanted to help. After a pause that felt much longer than it was, Linda nodded slowly. "All right," she said softly. "But please, just be careful with it." "It's all she has," Jack smiled reassuringly, promising he would treat it like his own. Jack carefully loaded the chair into his truck, helping Emily into the passenger seat so they could ride home with Linda following behind. For the first time in months, Linda felt a flicker of hope stir inside her. She didn't know what Jack would do or if the chair could truly be fixed, but she saw something in his eyes, a determination that wasn't common in strangers. That night, as she tucked Emily into bed, Linda whispered a quiet prayer of gratitude. Maybe, just maybe, their luck was about to change. Jack drove the rusted wheelchair back to his small workshop, a converted garage behind his modest Ohio home. The place smelled of oil, gasoline, and old wood, filled with half-fixed cars, toolboxes, and piles of spare parts. For most people, it was clutter. For Jack, it was a sanctuary. He parked the truck, unloaded the wheelchair, and set it under the overhead light. When he studied it closely, he shook his head. The frame was dangerously weak, the wheels nearly bald, and the bearings worn out. "No kid should have to sit in this," he whispered to himself, his chest tightening. Jack had been fixing machines since he was a teenager. His late father had been a mechanic too, a man who believed that no piece of metal was ever truly useless if you had patience and skill. Those lessons stayed with Jack even after his father passed. Tonight, though, it wasn't just about repairing a machine. It was about giving a little girl a chance to feel normal again, to move without pain or struggle. He thought about Emily's wide smile, her hopeful eyes when she asked him to fix the chair, and suddenly the task felt more like a mission than a favor. The first night he worked until nearly midnight. He disassembled the wheelchair piece by piece, laying out the parts across his workbench. Rust flakes sprinkled onto the floor like dust. The wheels wobbled in his hands, the bearings grinding loudly. He sighed, realizing how badly it had been neglected, but his determination only grew. He made a list of parts he would need. Some could be salvaged from old bicycles, others from wheelbarrows or scooters, and a few he would have to purchase new. His savings weren't much, but he decided right then he would cover the costs himself. It wasn't about money, it was about Emily. The following morning, Jack drove to junkyards and thrift shops, scanning every corner for usable parts. He found an old mountain bike with sturdy wheels that could be refitted for the chair, a stroller frame with intact bearings, and a car seat cushion that could be reshaped for comfort. Each discovery gave him energy, even as his hands grew calloused from cutting and bending metal. At the counter of a hardware store, when the clerk asked, "Building something special?" Jack simply smiled and said, "Yeah, for a friend." He didn't explain more because to him the work spoke louder than words. Back at the workshop, the long process began. He welded the joints of the frame, adding reinforcement to areas that had nearly snapped. Sparks flew as his torch cut through old bolts and reshaped the skeleton of the chair. Sweat trickled down his forehead, but he hardly noticed. The sound of grinding steel echoed into the night, but neighbors who walked by didn't complain. They'd seen Jack work like this before, and though they didn't yet know the story behind it, they could tell this project was different. There was a passion in his movements that wasn't usually there when he fixed cars. On the second night, he started shaping the seat. Using foam and fabric from the car seat he found, he carefully measured and stitched together a cushion that would keep Emily comfortable. He imagined her sitting there laughing as she rolled down the sidewalk. Every stitch felt like a promise that she wouldn't have to endure pain just to move around. As he worked, he remembered his younger sister, who had been born with a disability and used a wheelchair for part of her childhood. Jack had been too young then to help much, but now maybe this was his way of honoring her memory. Sleep was rare for Jack that week. He worked at the auto shop during the day, fixing engines and transmissions to earn his living, then hurried home to work on the wheelchair at night. His hands grew blistered, his back ached, but he refused to slow down. Each time fatigue tempted him, he pictured Emily's face when she asked, "Is this really for me?" He wanted that joy, that moment of pure surprise, to be worth every sacrifice. Some nights he whispered encouragement to himself, as if his late father stood beside him, nodding in approval of the work being done. One evening, his neighbor, an elderly man named George, peeked into the garage. "What are you building there, Jack?" he asked, sipping from a mug of tea. Jack hesitated, then finally explained the story of Emily and her broken wheelchair. George's eyes softened, and without another word, he disappeared into his house. Moments later, he returned with a small box of tools and spare bolts. "Here, these might help," he said, setting them on the workbench. It was a simple gesture, but it showed Jack that kindness could ripple outward. Soon other neighbors began checking in, offering fabric scraps, paint, or even snacks to keep him going. By the end of the week, the wheelchair began to take shape. The frame was sturdy, painted a bright sky blue. The wheels rolled smoothly, supported by brand new bearings. The seat was soft yet durable, with extra padding to protect Emily's back. Jack even added a small feature, a handlebar that could fold, making it easier for Linda to push the chair uphill. Every little detail was carefully considered, not because he had to, but because he wanted Emily to feel special. He wasn't just fixing her old wheelchair. He was creating something entirely new, built with heart and hope. Late one Friday night, Jack sat on the workshop floor, staring at the finished product. He ran his hand over the polished frame, watching how the light reflected off the paint. For the first time in days, he leaned back, exhausted but satisfied. He thought of Emily's laughter, Linda's tears of relief, and how one small act of kindness could ripple through an entire family's life. It wasn't about recognition or reward. It was about doing the right thing. And deep down, Jack knew this was the most meaningful project he had ever completed. Tomorrow, he would reveal the gift. The morning sun spilled across Linda's front porch as she folded laundry, her thoughts heavy with uncertainty. It had been nearly 2 weeks since Jack had taken Emily's wheelchair. Though his eyes had been sincere and his promise firm, doubt often crept into her mind. What if he couldn't fix it? What if he never returned? She hated herself for thinking that way, but years of disappointment had made her cautious. Emily, however, was different. Every morning she asked, "Do you think today's the day, Mom?" Her belief in Jack's promise was unshakable, and that faith kept Linda from losing hope. Just before noon, the rumble of a familiar truck echoed down the street. Emily, who was sitting on the porch with a book in her lap, looked up and squealed with delight. "It's him! Mom, it's Jack!" She nearly dropped the book as she tried to wheel herself forward, forgetting she was in a borrowed chair that barely rolled. Linda's heart raced as she stepped off the porch. She saw Jack climbing out of his truck, his hands resting proudly on the edge of something hidden under a tarp. Her breath caught. This was the moment they had been waiting for. Jack gave a small wave as he pulled back the tarp, revealing the wheelchair. But it wasn't the same rusted, broken thing he had taken away. This was a brand new creation, shining in the sunlight. The frame gleamed in bright sky blue, with sturdy black wheels that looked smooth as glass. The seat was cushioned, wrapped in soft, clean fabric, and even the armrests had been polished. It looked less like a medical device and more like a carefully crafted gift. Emily gasped, covering her mouth with her hands. Is that really mine?" she whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Linda felt tears prick her eyes as Jack nodded, his smile warm and proud. "Go ahead, give it a try," he said, kneeling beside the chair. With careful hands, he helped Emily from her old chair into the new one. The moment she sat down, her posture changed. The cushion cradled her comfortably, and her feet rested easily on the sturdy footplates. She placed her hands on the wheels, pushed gently, and the chair glided forward as if it were weightless. "It's so smooth!" she shouted with joy, spinning in a small circle, before laughing so hard her voice echoed down the street. Linda covered her mouth, unable to stop the tears flowing freely now. For years she had dreamed of this moment, seeing her daughter move without struggle, without pain. Jack watched Emily's laughter with quiet pride, his tired eyes softening. He had spent countless nights working on this chair, but seeing her happiness erased every hour of exhaustion. Neighbors began stepping outside, curious about the commotion. They watched as Emily rolled back and forth with ease, her giggles filling the air. For once, she wasn't the girl with the broken chair. She was simply a child, free to play, free to smile. Linda approached Jack, her voice trembling. "We can never repay you for this. I don't even know what to say." Jack shook his head, brushing off her words with humility. "You don't owe me anything. Just let her enjoy life. That's more than enough for me." His voice carried a weight of sincerity that made Linda's chest ache. It wasn't pity, nor was it charity. It was pure kindness, given without expectation. She placed her hand on his arm, whispering a simple "thank you," though the words felt far too small for the enormity of what he had done. Emily wheeled herself up to Jack, her face glowing with pride. "You made this just for me, didn't you?" she asked, looking up at him. Jack crouched to her level and nodded. "Every piece, every stitch, I thought of you the whole time." Emily leaned forward and hugged him tightly, surprising him. Jack froze for a second, then smiled and hugged her back. It wasn't the kind of gratitude you could measure with money or gifts. It was the kind that touched the soul. For Jack, that single hug was worth more than every paycheck he'd ever earned at the auto shop. The neighborhood soon gathered, marveling at the chair. Some clapped, others offered words of admiration, and a few even wiped away tears. One elderly neighbor whispered, "We needed this reminder that there's still goodness in people." Word began to spread quickly. By evening, families from nearby streets came to see the girl with the new wheelchair and the mechanic who built it. What had started as a simple act of kindness was now inspiring an entire community. People who had never spoken to each other before shared conversations, united by the beauty of witnessing compassion in action. Later that night, as the crowd dispersed, Linda sat on the porch watching Emily race circles in the driveway, her laughter echoing under the stars. Jack leaned against his truck, quietly observing. Linda turned to him and asked softly, "Why did you do this? You didn't even know us." Jack looked at the ground for a moment before replying, "Because I could. Because sometimes the world gives us a chance to make someone's life easier, and if we turn away, what does that make us?" His words hung in the cool air, simple yet profound. Linda realized then he wasn't just a mechanic. He was a rare soul who chose kindness over comfort. As the night grew quiet, Emily finally tired from her endless laps around the driveway. She looked at her mom and Jack, her face flushed with joy. "Today was the best day ever," she declared before yawning. Linda carried her inside, her heart full in a way it hadn't been in years. Jack waved goodbye, promising to check in if the chair ever needed adjustments. As his truck disappeared down the road, Linda whispered to herself, "Angels don't always have wings." In that moment, she understood. This wasn't just about a wheelchair. It was about hope, restored in the simplest, most extraordinary way.